everyone, and welcome back to Dad and Me. My name is Kaylee Gray, and I'm here with my co-host, Pastor Brad, my dad.
How's everybody doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good because Kaylee's let me on the spinny chairs again, so
I
I don't
know.
know. I must have did okay last time.
I know. I think it's been okay. So we brought them back. They're fun, and I don't know. I heard sometimes when you move, for people that have is it ADD or something like that, if they bounce on balls or something, I don't know, they can think better. So
Well,
maybe we'll see you.
exercise balls.
Exactly.
We'll do that next time.
Exactly. Oh gosh, I don't know. That'd be dangerous. I'm pretty sure I'd fall off. But I'm so excited about today's episode. Today, we are going to be talking about what I've learned from my dad, which these are practical things, funny things, just things that my dad has taught me, probably things your dad has taught you, or maybe if your dad isn't in your life and you need a fatherly figure, you can learn some tips from my dad. So
hopefully, amen.
Amen. And so I'm excited. So if you also have not subscribed, please subscribe and follow us on Instagram. You can also watch this on YouTube. So we love this podcast. It's a fun father-daughter podcast, and I'm just excited. So should we jump right in?
Let's dive in, yep.
All right. So things that I have learned from my dad, and one of the main things is your lists and systems. Mm-hmm. Do you want to go into how that even started?
I'm not sure exactly how it started, just that I've always liked making lists, like things I want to get done for the day. And I found it's even better if you can, before you go to bed, just kind of write some things down. Just save a bunch of scratch paper at home, and I make a list on it and just leave it on the kitchen table. And then the morning I wake up, I can see what I need to do, some things I need to accomplish, and just kind of helps me stay on task and stay focused. And it also kind of, in some ways, I think it kind of builds some self-esteem because it feels good to scratch something off. You know what I mean?
Just going to say that. I sometimes, when I'll start my to-do list for the day, and if I have a bunch of things, granted, sometimes I don't write on paper. Sometimes I'll even do it just in my phone, and they have the thing where you can hit the little bubble and it will show complete. But anyways, I will do that, and I will feel accomplished. Sometimes I will put my list will be make your bed. It might be take a shower, do laundry, just the simplest things. Yeah. And I just find so much achievement after
It does, especially if somebody's a master procrastinator, they're just always good at putting something off. But just putting down those little things and being able to mark them off, I think it gives you a sense of accomplishment and makes you feel good when you get something done. Nothing worse than sitting down in the evening, man, you look back, what did I do today? You know, and there's nothing really to show for it. So,
I think it's good to just, like we said, if you're not motivated or maybe you are super motivated, if I sometimes keep it in my head and I think too much about something, and then I almost sometimes forget about things, or I'm constantly thinking about it, and then I'm not able to focus on other things.
Yeah.
And I think it really helps when you can write things down, which I was kind of not anti-list, but I was kind of that's dumb. I don't need to do that. I, will remember. And it's been amazing just, I don't know, just how I feel after I've written things down. I'm just oh.
And if you are a master worrier, it is good to get them out of your head and put them on paper, and then you can see that really those things are manageable.
Yeah.
Because when they're banging around in your head up there, or floating around or whatever, sometimes you just can't see it getting done. Yeah. But then if you put them on paper and, I can get that done, or I can do it this way, then it makes you feel like you can handle some of that. And a lot of people struggle with anxiety, and that might be a way of overcoming some of it.
Yeah. No, I think that's good because I think with the lists, it also helps with your routine or systems and things that you have for the day. And you're a very routine person, I would say. And I think that's definitely brushed off a lot on me.
Yeah, I believe in putting your keys in the same spot every time, I never have to look for my keys unless somebody borrows them.
Yeah.
Because I know where I put them every time on my dresser. I'd never just take, when I come home, I just don't throw my keys on the table. They don't go on the table. They go in a certain spot.
Did I give you your keys back yesterday?
I found them.
Okay. Now that I think about that, I borrowed his vehicle. Now I'm like, what did I do?
That
with
was
the
kind of
keys?
a subtle hit I had. No, you
Yeah,
didn't.
I feel like that's like something for me.
Yeah, no. But that's just, it's some people think that's just too OCD, but if you don't, you waste a lot of time looking for things. If you really think about it, if you don't, can't find something, and usually it's human error. So if you
Yeah.
can just get into some systems that works.
No, and I'd heard too, I've been like reading books and leadership stuff. That's something that you've also like taught me to do. And I read and they were saying how you should do everything the night before. Like if you do as much you can the night before. So whether it is like prepping your lunch for work that you're going to be taking to work, or you're setting out, your supplements, or you've picked out your clothes, like as like minuscule as some of those seem, you're getting everything you can get done the night before to prepare you for
Right.
that next day.
It's about momentum. Sometimes when you start getting things done and you get on a roll, and then you can really accomplish a lot, and get some things done. Yeah.
No, I love it. Okay, that's so good. All right, the next thing that I feel like you've taught me is to live within margin. Do you want to explain? I feel like nowadays so many people probably don't even know what living within margin means.
Yeah, living with margin kind of means, to cut it down real simple, is try to live on 80% of your income, and then you tithe 10% because, as Christians, that's what we believe. And whether you're a Christian or not, it's kind of good to give to charities, and the other 10% save it, and try to get yourself some money set aside. Now, I know it's kind of hard depending on your paycheck where you're at if you can do that, but, I've watched a lot of people, especially going through the years of being a pastor here, some young kids, especially starting out. One of them they do is when they graduate, they maybe buy a car. And I knew one guy one time I think he bought a Mustang or something. He didn't really factor in the car insurance and all that being at a young age. And then, it was really a lot of money. And then, they couldn't afford to go out and do anything fun because he was tied down with his car payment. He was tied down with the insurance, and then you can't do things. And sometimes people do that with a house too. They really save for the down payment, but they don't factor in that monthly payment, if they can handle that. So you need to live within your means and enjoy life instead of being stressed out with finances. Because if you're stressed out with finances all the time, it's a real bummer, and it causes a lot of strife, especially in a lot of relationships. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is good. And I think too, a big thing with living within margin was also saving. That is something you've really taught me with my finances to save. And I think a lot of that is the reason, like the first car I bought, granted, I was after college, it was the end of my college. I was able to pay cash for that vehicle.
Yeah.
And so I had saved up from working and doing things like that. And so I still had spending money where I would go have fun and do things, but I was really good and still am really good about saving. And I usually only keep X amount of money in my checking account, and then the rest of it will go into my savings. Yeah. And it's so funny. I will be like, if my checking account gets below a certain number, I will be like, oh my gosh, I'm poor. I have no money. Like I need to cut back. I need to be careful. And it's so funny that I have that mindset when I do have my savings. Yeah. But to me, my savings isn't there. My savings is for, emergencies or things like that. And that is another thing you've taught me that I don't think we discussed was in the midst of living within margin is saving, having $1,000, nest egg of just for emergencies. Yeah. Because there has been times where I have had to dip into that, maybe a car issue or I think I remember having to buy tires for my vehicle and I hadn't budgeted that. And so I think living within margin, you are capable of doing that. And I know some people have told me that, once you're married, you have to have 2 incomes, otherwise you're not going to be able to survive. And I was talking with a friend recently and she was like, no, it's possible. Is it harder? Yes. You have to be smart with your finances and budget and do things, but it is possible for you to do that. If the mom wanted to stay home with the child. Right. And that is something that I've seen that you did. You always worked and provided for our family so that mom could stay home and raise us. Yep. And so I think, setting a budget, there's so many resources out there on like how to set a budget and review your finances. And, I think that's really important, whether you're single, married, all the things, all seasons of life.
Amen.
So, no, it's so good.
That really helps a lot. And plus, you can pay cash for things, when other people are putting it on credit, and then them credit cards, they charge you such high interest. But if you can get ahead a little bit, and then you start maybe want some nice things. I don't buy a lot of junk. When I buy something, I usually try to buy something nice that's going to last a while.
Yeah.
And, I can pay cash for it, and don't have to have those payments,
No, I think it's so smart to do that, and I think it definitely helps to take some pressure off of life and still get to enjoy life. Like I save up money so that I can go and have fun and travel and do all of these trips, and it's amazing how God's provided for me, because I right now am working the least amount of hours I've ever worked. But yet God is like providing for me, and I've budgeted. He's like just been taking care of me. Yeah. And I am so thankful for that. And I think a lot of it too has to do with tithing, which we didn't talk too much about, but giving God that 10%. And I will tithe before I pay my bills a lot of times. Yeah. And so it has been so important to me, and that's something you taught me at a really young age, was the importance of tithing.
Yeah, it's an important thing, yep. We've been tithing since probably 1985, or I have, and my wife always did before that. But it's just important. And also, as you was talking there, I thought of something. It's good if you're single to try to get out of debt if you are in debt right now.
Yeah.
One of the worst gifts you can give your future spouse is your credit card bill or something like that. If you're a lot in debt, I know they're going to love you, but it'll be a little better if you can, try to get that squared away and be in a better place financially if you can. Yep.
Yeah. Because with a credit card, like, I know you said you pay in cash. Credit cards aren't horrible. They're not bad. Something you had me do was like get a credit card, and I used it just for buying gas and then paying it off every month. So I could gain some credit.
Rating, yeah. And also you get some cash back on some cards. I do that. And it's kind of nice. I just, credited in like a $400 deal on my Visa bill the other day, because I try to buy everything on my credit card that I can, and then just pay it off every month. And then after, a while, you get that free money, I guess. So it's kind of cool.
No, that's great. Okay, my next thing, which this one comes with kind of a funny story, which I'm sure you'll remember. But if you can't be your best, do your best. And that is something that you have reiterated to the boys and I over our lives and through everything we do, whether it was sports, life, just anything.
Yeah. A lot of people, put pressure on sometimes to, you got to win every game, but, we all know there's only one Super Bowl winner, and there's only one, national champion for baseball, so you're not going to win every game, but one thing you can always do is you can always do your best and try your hardest and really, have your own personal best out there. Maybe your team's losing, but as long as you have done the best you can, you have nothing to be ashamed of. And it's like that in every area of life. When you go to work every day, try your best, try to make your boss money. That's why you're there, kind of have that attitude, and the law of promotion will kick in. You're going to be advanced, at work, and, whatever you are in life, if you always can be a reliable and resourceful person, and always do your best for somebody. And I think God honors that, because really we're working for God anyway. And, maybe even if your boss doesn't bless you, I believe the Lord will, for your attitude, your good attitude, and wanting to be a team player and things like that. And, work hard. Yeah.
Because you have a story with that when everyone was getting laid off.
Yeah. I've always been pretty fortunate. Always been a good worker. Maybe it's a farm ethic growing up. I always had to do stuff. But, several different times when I was living in Denver and working as an electrician, there'd be the ebb and flow of work, and sometimes things would get slow. And a lot of times, I would be the last one on the job, even though I wasn't maybe there the longest, but the boss would a lot of times keep me because he knew I would work hard for him and do things, to whatever it took to get things done, and never cut any corners, always did what was right. And that shows up. And, that was always kind of a personal for me on the inside, just seeing that, hard work gets noticed and it gets rewarded.
It is. I think it's something you can just tell so much by work ethic in a person, and even just doing your best in like sports or whatever. Like for me, when I was younger, I was probably like 9 or 10 playing softball, and I was very shy. Didn't really want to do my best. My goal in life was to sit on the bench, or when I had to go up to bat, I would be looking to be walked or even hit with the ball, which sounds so crazy.
Yeah.
But then I think after a year or two of being on that team, then you and a few of the other parents came in and were the coaches. And so we were at bat. You and I were just batting practice because you were determined to get me to swing the bat. Because, I wasn't even swinging the bat when I was going up. Like, it was, probably 2 years straight that I didn't swing the bat for
I don't know if it's that bad, but
X amount of years of, like, how many games? Because we had so many games.
Swinging it with heart, might have been a different
Yeah. So anyway, so I would never swing the bat. And somehow I was at home plate. My dad was on the pitcher's mound and he pitched me something and he was like riling me up. I don't even remember what you said or what, but it was just you and I out there. I think the boys were maybe in the
It
outfield.
was at the sports complex.
Yeah.
It's in the batting cage. I remember where it's at. I can still picture it in my mind.
Oh my gosh. Well, anyways, I was so mad that I tried to spit at my father. Yes. And did I make it?
Nope. Fell short. You only spit about 4 or 5 feet.
Yeah. I just I laugh about that. And so then the joke in our family was, are you going to get spitting mad?
Yeah.
And so, but I did after that hit the ball.
Yeah, you did get a hit or two. That's good. Yep.
Yeah.
They were hitting a little bit. So
I became a lot better. Maybe not that year, but the years after. And so I was pretty good. And then I went into retirement. But, but it's just so funny. Like that is something I had such a poor attitude and mindset of like wanting to go up and like play. And I really had to change that. Like I had to change my mentality of like, I'm going to hit this ball. Like this is what I'm going to do. And so I've seen that just in my life and everything that I've done. And it's not like a perfectionist issue, but it's really just like what I can do is my best. Because also something you've taught me is you're replaceable.
Yeah.
So especially for jobs and stuff like that, like you have to do your best and be you in that job. And that's what's going to keep you going and keep you getting promoted because they don't need you. They can replace you and get anybody because I think sometimes when you are working a job and you're like, oh, I'm so great, they need me. And I think one time I did kind of get like a little cocky in that, like when I was kind of like out of college working and stuff like that, my first job. And you were kind of like, well, Kaylee, you're replaceable. Like they don't need you. And you would think that would be really harsh in saying that, but I needed to hear that because I was like, you know what, you're right. So it inspired me and encouraged me to keep doing my best and doing better. And I've been at a company for like 7 or 8 years now, and it's been amazing. I love it. Definitely not something I thought I would be doing, but it was really cool because I had switched teams recently and I was assigned this project. They had sent it to me that morning and I just like worked hard. Like I was like, I'm going to get this done and stuff like that. And then I sent an email saying like I had finished it, had a couple questions on it. And one of the people was like, to my supervisor, I was like, I just sent that this morning. Like, I can't believe she got it done. And my supervisor's like, well, that's Kaylee, And so it was like kind of cool to me that she was like, she knows like when she sends me something, I'm going to get it done. Yeah. And so I think that is something that I've like really like just implemented in my life. Like I might not be the best at what I'm doing, but I can do my best. And that goes a long way.
Amen.
That's good. Yeah. All right. Something too that I feel like I'm still learning from my dad and still struggle with, and I have gotten a lot better over the years, is asking questions. And asking.
do ask a lot of questions sometimes.
I do, but the thing is,
right questions.
the right questions. You have to ask the right questions. Why?
Yeah. Well, a lot of times people, like I've talked to kids or different people, and they have a problem and they want to call somebody. Maybe it's about their car, maybe it's about something, and they call them and they don't have a clue what they're going to ask. And then they finish the conversation, and then they haven't accomplished anything other than making the call.
Yeah.
So before you call anybody or you want to have a conversation with somebody, you need to just sit down for a second and just think, what do I want to ask this person? What information do I need before I can make a good decision, on it? And so, just learn how to ask good questions and planning ahead, that's very important.
No, it is so important because there's so many times then you have to call back or, I would hate it. Like I would reiterate information to you and you're like, well, did you ask this? And I'm like, no. Well, what about this? I'm like, no. And so I'm just like, well, why didn't you call? But
not my job.
Not your job to do it. Like I had to learn to do it. And so that is something that is really important. And I think too, you can even like Google and like be like, okay, what questions should I ask? But just like being prepared and knowing what questions you want to ask definitely helps you get farther in life.
Which kind of takes, what's your desired outcome? What is it I want out of this conversation or this, what I'm wanting to do?
Yeah.
Let's say you're wanting to go buy something and you're comparing things, so how do you compare things properly? I mean, price is, the first thing you look at, but that's a no-brainer. But, you want to kind of dig a little deeper and find out, maybe warranties or how they handle warranties and things like that. And if they deliver,
all the things.
All the stuff, just to find out what's better for you. Because everybody has different needs and we need to find out, what'll work.
No, that's so good. I think too, something with that, with like asking the questions is a lot of reasons that you had me do that was you were teaching me to be self-sufficient. And that is something that you definitely have taught me, probably similar of being like independent.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something your mom taught.
Yeah, my mom especially, Dad too, he was a farmer. And as farmers, you got to improvise and get stuff done all the time. But, Mom would, really taught me to be self-sufficient, be able to take care of my own business and, pay my own way, and, get stuff done, and that just came from that, her influencing me in that area and wanting to do that. And I really admire some of the things that she taught me in those areas. It's just really helped me in life and gave me a leg up and maybe a step ahead of some other people, that maybe never had that opportunity in life. Somebody, maybe speaking into their life. And, hey, you got to be able to receive correction sometimes, because correction does come. Nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. And but being able to receive that correction and maybe try to do a little better next time.
Yeah. Yeah, because something my father would make me do once I got a vehicle was he made me schedule my own oil changes, which I hear about friends and their dads like take them to go do their oil changes for them. It's just like done and they don't even have to do it. And I'm just like, I never had that. Yeah. But I will say you did go with me to get it done. Like you would help me go drop off my vehicle and stuff, but you really wanted me to learn how to do that, which I think has prepared me for being able to live 7 hours away from you.
Yeah.
And now I'm able to, go and schedule my own oil changes. And, there'll be sometimes like they'll say something. I'll be like, oh, hey, Dad, like, what do you think about this? Yeah. But I do know the correct questions to ask. I know what to say when I'm going in so that they don't rip me off.
Yeah, try to sell you something you don't need and stuff.
Yeah.
That is a common thing, that happens, especially dealing with cars.
Yeah.
But,
definitely.
Yeah. So it's good to, be able to handle that yourself because I may not be around every day. The odds are it won't.
That's true.
Should Jesus tarry, you know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. But so that is something you've definitely taught me and the boys to be more self-sufficient. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And it was a lot of great learning opportunities over the years.
Yeah.
Was it growing pains? Of course.
Yeah, the first time you do something, you're always nervous a little bit and getting her done. So,
Yeah. It is. Okay, another thing that you have, my dad at least does this, I've learned from you is that you always carry cash with you. There have been multiple instances where we have shown up to events or things like that where it's a cash only event.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I don't have any money.
Yeah, I think she did it on purpose, I'm guessing, but I don't know. Like the time you took me to Qdoba's or whatever the word is.
Oh, yes. Oh, gosh. Qdoba. Okay. So my mom had just had like a surgery, and I had gotten a Qdoba gift card from work.
She was bragging about this card while I was at the hospital. She
Yes.
was saying, "Hey, I got a card. Let's go down there."
Yeah, I'm like, I have a $25 gift card. I'm going to like take you out to dinner, because we had been at the hospital all day. It was like a long, full day, and mom was spending the night there. And so anyways, we go to Qdoba. Well, what I forgot is I had taken 2 purses, and the gift
That's her
card
story anyway.
was in the other purse an hour and a half away. So, dear old dad ended up paying for dinner that night.
It's all good.
But yeah, it is. It's funny. I remember just so many times.
See, it's maybe because I'm from a different generation. We never had, debit cards and all that stuff when I was growing up. You had cash or you had a check. And
Yeah.
I always knew to take X amount of dollars out of my paycheck, every week, and what I thought I would need, and always had some cash around. And
Yeah.
I know some say we're going to go to a cashless society. I don't know, but I'd hate that.
Yeah.
I like to have some cash around in case you need it. You never know.
Yeah. No, I think it's smart definitely to have cash. You never know when you're going to be in that situation that you might need some cash. So, so I know this podcast is about like what I've learned from you, but I feel like I've taught you some things too. I have taught you that a person can eat one scrambled egg and be completely happy.
No. Yeah. She eats one egg. I wouldn't even get the skillet dirty on one egg. I'd think of something else to eat. I say, Kaylee, you want some eggs? And I just want one egg scrambled.
Yep.
I usually eat 2 or 3, and make it worth my while, but now she likes one egg.
I know. Most people definitely want more than one egg, but I met somebody the other day. They're like, oh yeah, I just eat one egg. And I was like, oh my gosh, me too. I'm like, my dad teases me all the time about it. So
You're a minority in that group, I think.
I think so, but it's okay. But anyways, well, this was fun, Dad. Is there any other dad nuggets? I feel like we've covered pretty much all of the main. I mean, you've taught me a lot of things, but I feel like most of the things that you've taught me in life.
One thing I always liked, Mike Murdoch, he always had some one-liners, and I prayed for that anointing, and I get one-liners, how God kind of deals with me when I preach. But one thing he said was, if you want something you never had, you have to do something you've never done. And that's always just stuck with me.
That's good.
If you're not getting the results you want in life, maybe shake it up a little bit, try something different, try to get some counsel out there. Maybe you're a young person and maybe you don't have a dad. There's a lot of opportunities. You can try to be a part of a multi-generational Bible study, hop in there and, maybe around some aged people, and they can maybe take you under their wing and things like that. And just a lot of different opportunities, hopefully through the local church. I was just thinking about this today that, some people, maybe when they choose a church, they kind of like the hipster, real fancy, but, which is all fine. But maybe maybe that's not what you need. You need to really pray. And I believe I'm speaking to somebody right now. You need to be in the church that God's called you to be in because, the goal is to grow. And you want to be in a place, and that sometimes that takes some mentorship and stuff. Yeah. And if you're lacking a father figure in your life, maybe you need to kind of find a safe place to find one, so you can maybe get a little bit of that input. And I know there's a lot of older Christians out there that would love to maybe take some younger person under their wing a little bit and be their friend and, maybe help them, in some ways, counsel them through some things and give them that support they need, but you're not going to maybe find that in in every church, you got to try to find that. And then, like I said, maybe go to a multi-generational Bible study, instead of just going with your younger peer group, maybe hop in there with some older people and maybe get a little different input. I really feel, in my spirit that there's a lot of young people that need a father, a spiritual father in their life. And, sometimes the father won't seek you out. You got to seek out the Father. And you got to try to really ask God to lead you and guide you to where you need to be.
It's good. That's really good.
Amen.
Well, thank you, Dad. I've loved this. I mean, I'm thankful that I get to learn from you, and I hope you guys have learned something too. And we are so excited for another new episode coming out the first Wednesday of each month. And we will see you next time.
All right. God bless you.
Bye.